If you found these sessions are informative and you want to see more content like this, consider subscribing to our channel, and I am going with the topic wise. Okay, if you have any questions, you can comment it, and I will clarify your doubts. I'm here to help, and topics are covered with more accuracy, and for the beginner also they can able to understand. So let's now see what are all the topics covered till now. So minikube local setup. So this was done what the first session itself, minikube local setup and installation, and we can see the architecture of Kubernetes. K8 in the sense Kubernetes architecture, and from there we can see a master and worker nodes. What are all the topics which are available under master? We can see kube API server, etcd, kube controller manager and scheduler. These are the four topics which are under master node, and worker node kubelet and kube proxy, container. So the CRI, container runtime engine, that will be there. The pods will be placed, that we have seen. And the third one is pods. We discussed about the pods and with the practical explanation and lab exercise. Then replication controller. Replication control. What is the use of a replication controller? We have already discussed. With the help of replication controller, we can see the load balancing by sharing the load across multiple parts in the cluster. With a practical example also I have explained on this. And pods, these are the smallest object which you will create in the Kubernetes. That is a small instance in the application. So we have created from the deployment perspective, and especially while we create the deployment, from there the pods will be created and replica set will be created, and also we have created the separate pod definition file, and we have created that pods also, and we have seen some of the commands in the pods and replication controller as well. Then replica set, S is capital. So replica set, what we need to use, what is the major difference between the replication controller and replica set? We have seen that API version and a selector label. API version and a selector tag is there. That is the only difference in the replication controller. And why we use the replica set? So replica set ensures that all the number of pods are always keep up and running. So even if you delete a pod in the replica set, by default it will be recreated. Even if you delete it, that is the only concern here. That is the main advantage of the replica set. And finally the deployment. So what is the use of deployment? We discussed that one. Deployment is for, we can suppose if you want to do underlying server upgradation and installation and some of the pods deployment, and creating the replica set, we can use the deployment. So once the deployment YAML file is ready, we will create the deployment. By default deployment, it will create on top of that deployment, it will automatically create the replica set, and replica set it will automatically deploy the pods. So that means once the deployment is ready, so you can deploy that deployment and it will create the automatically replica set pods. So that is how it will be working with the deployments. So this is how it will be easy for making it faster in our Kubernetes applications. So now finally we'll go with question and answers. Also we have seen some question and answers on the all of the above topics. Okay, now we will see the naming namespace. So why we use to namespace here? So in Kubernetes, namespace acts as a virtual cluster within the system or cluster, so that it will provide the mechanism for logically dividing and isolating the group of resources like pods, services and deployments. Okay, making it easier to organize and manage the manage and control access to the resources within the cluster. This is the main use case. In For your understanding, I can tell you. Okay, wait a second. For your understanding, I can tell you it is like creating the separate and self-contained sections within your Kubernetes environment, so that you can easily manage and organize within the Kubernetes environment, whatever based on the resource requirement, CPU usages and storage. This and all you can come up with the. Suppose in real-time scenario, what I can tell you, you are creating the development namespace and QA namespace and prod namespace. Likewise, you can create the namespace and you can organize whatever goes under this categories. I mean, suppose if you are creating the production, so what will goes in the production environment namespace, and it will create the separate namespace, so that it will be clear and in a organized manner. That is how the namespace will work. We'll see in the system what are all the namespace available, and we'll sort it out in a quick session. You got it. Get ns ns in the same namespace. See, we can see there are four namespaces in the default: kube node release and kube public and kube system. Okay, the Kubernetes comes up with once the mini kube installation is ready, right? This will by default it comes up with some of the pre-configured namespaces. They are classified into four, and those are default kube node release, kube public, and kube system. Okay, we'll go each one by one. But default one, right? Default one, what it will do, will say this namespace. Okay, so we'll go namespace, right? Namespace. Okay, and the default under that default namespace. So what is the use of default namespace? Default namespace for objects that don't specify any other namespaces, because there is no other namespaces, only this default one. That is the default namespace for objects that don't specify other namespaces. Other namespaces, yes. That is the default one. So the second one is, okay, everything is fine. What is the second one? Kube node release. Okay, this is the second namespace. What is the use of this kube node release namespace? So it will holds the lease object associated with each node to allow the kubelet to send heartbeats within it holds the lease objects associated with each node to allow the kubelet to send heartbeats which will help to detect node failures. So if there are any nodes associated with this kube node release, so it will check the nodes, and if there are any failures, it will detect the hotbits and send it to the failure section of the Kubernetes node release. Then what is the next one? So kube public. Guys, all are small only. By default, it is taking as a first letter as capital. Okay, we'll go with the next page. So kube public. So public, it contains only this namespace contains only the publicly accessible data and resources, which is readable by the clients, whether authenticated or not, so that they can able to access without any authentication. That is the kube public namespace. Wait a second. This namespace contains publicly accessible data and resources, readable by the clients without whether authenticated or not. So without any authentication, they can able to access the this public namespace. Then it will come to the kube system namespace. So here kube system namespace, it is reserved for the Kubernetes system objects and components. This namespace is reserved for Kubernetes objects. Let's check the spell. You know, right? What are the Kubernetes objects? For example, we can say leave that. Okay, some of the examples are pods, nodes, no, sorry, this is Kubernetes objects in the sense within the kube system. Okay, not in the publicly accessible or other default namespace, which is especially for kube API server master node components. We can say API server etcd controller manager and scheduler. Can convert it to bullet points, whatever it is. Okay, and it will not recommend for user workloads. You know what does this mean? User workloads, it's like databases, microservices, backend services, etc etc. This is not recommended for we'll see this kube system, right? Kube system, kube public, kube node release, and this is the namespace key components, you can say. This one default. Now you can able to understand. Okay, now we will see under kube system this are all available or not. Now we can go to the terminal and get pods -n in the sense we are specifying the namespace kube system. Sorry, pods spell mistake. If you see this core DNS is the domain services and etcd minikube and API server, controller manager, scheduler, all are available. Storage provider and core DNS, this are by default it will create. Other than these four concepts, we see that the DNS and storage as well. These are the namespace under kube system category. And so this is the quick session on the namespace section. Namespace. If you have any doubts, you can ask me so that I can explain on that. Hope you gone through the videos, and and I want to remember you. I want to check on your side as well. So I hope you are going through the videos and the topic wise I am covering, especially for the beginners. They can able to understand. If they don't have any local setup, you can reach out to me so that I can help on that as well. It is quick and easy installation with the help of minikube, that is a single node cluster. And I hope this will help you for better understanding of Kubernetes basics. And if you love these videos, and you can share it with your friends who will be interested in it. And thanks for watching.